You had two girls that were racially bullied at high school, and while they was constantly reporting this, the school administration wasn't doing anything about it at all, to the point that the parents had to file a lawsuit. Let's roll the clip.
It made it worse because the people that we thought like we could go to turned their backs on us, and it felt like we were safe in the school.
Taylissa and Jayla say they were racially bullied at Yerington High School for months.
I knew like racism existed, but I never knew like that it could happen to me, and like having that, it just made me feel sick to my stomach.
They say they were repeatedly called the N-word and physically abused.
There was like multiple times where we'd get shoulder checked in the hallway, and I got pushed into a bush outside of the school, like the front doors.
They say the abuse was reported, but that administrators didn't do anything to stop it.
There was points where we'd break down and we'd want to stop, and we wouldn't want to do it anymore, and we couldn't do it anymore, but we just kept pushing through.
The family filed a lawsuit against the school district, and it was settled earlier this week.
From what our attorneys have explained to us, the only way we could really handle this is hit them in the pocketbook. So let's hope that that's going to be enough.
Parents Charles and Nancy Tolliver say it's been impossible watching their daughters go through it.
It's a hard thing to do as a parent, to try to tell your children that they're not liked because of the color of their skin.
As for the next school year, the girls are adamant. They want to return in the fall.
I don't want to run away from my problems. We went through all of this just to up and leave, and I don't want to do that.
And they have a message to others who are facing the same thing.
There's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Because even we thought we hit a brick wall, but every time we just kept reaching through.
Now, one thing I kept noticing, what they kept showing in the pictures, is that this school is not diverse at all. And when you have certain areas like that doesn't have a lot of diversity there, you don't have a lot of other black people with you, or the black people that are there, they're so scattered all over the place, you rarely run into them, you may deal with some problems. And my life experience with situations like that is when too many of them get in one spot and there's not that many black folks, sometimes they think they can try you. Now, you could be in that kind of environment if you are a take charge kind of person, and if you know how to really exhibit don't mess with me and can back that up. If you can't, then you shouldn't be in that kind of environment at all. But those two girls, and I want to point something out, because we got to point out the obvious. They have some people that have told me in the past, you know, Phil, I'm biracial, and call yourself biracial, and you don't want to call yourself black. And of course, you got a group of black folks that's going to say they're not black. They did say that in the third. Those black folks have no power whatsoever to label anything. They just don't. So with that said, you see how they were treated. Even though those white people know that they have a black parent and a white parent, they still treated them like N-words. They racially bullied them like N-words. So when some of you have told me about you're biracial in America, they don't care about any of that. If you have a black parent, they're going to treat you like an N-word. It's just that simple. Now these girls, they want to start an organization against people being racially bullied in school because they dealt with that. Now, the only thing I disagree with the young girls say, well, I dealt with all this, I don't want to run off. It's not about running off. It's the fact is, why you want to be in that kind of environment? I would want my children in an environment where the administrators are cool with white supremacist terrorism against my children. To me, they're co-collaborators with these young white supremacist terrorists. So why would I want my kids around that? I want my children around more black people. If I have my children anywhere else, okay, they have to be extremely diverse then. You got to have some black folks and a good amount of black folks. It'll have some white folks, some Hispanics, some Asians, some Arabs. I want everybody around. I don't want just my kid in an environment where they're the only black person in the room. No, because that's a recipe for disaster in this country every single time. I've seen it happen. You can't, because they get bold when they get by themselves like that. They feel, oh, I could try something because we outnumber this black kid. So why put your kid in that kind of environment as a black parent? It's just that simple. And some black folks, you know, you marry people, especially you marrying white folks, A lot of y'all get oblivious to racism. You get oblivious to it because of the person you're with. I'm just calling it what it is. And then these children are dealing with racism, and all of a sudden, like, you like that about it. It's wrong, it's XYZ. Or you put them in schools where they the only black kid in the room. You don't think about that? You don't take on the mindset of a woman. She needs help take on your mindset. And I can see just what this guy is coming across in this video. I don't know him personally, but the vibe he's giving me is that he don't lead much. He just don't. He's just kind of following. And that's why his kids are still in that school. Because my kids wouldn't be in that school at all. First of all, I wouldn't have got that far with me. I'm not going to let my children be racially terrorized. But this guy was giving off a lot of weak vibes. And I'm not calling him weak like a female would call him weak. No, I'm calling it, I still see the vibes coming off of him. It is, just with this whole situation. You a man and you sitting up there like, you sued, yes. You get paid, yes. Great. I always advocate to sue and make these people pay. I'm a firm believer of lawsuits against the white supremacists. I am. But at the same time, we got to look out for our children and not put them in environments for them to deal with white supremacist terrorism. We as parents must protect our children at all times. We must do that. And we can't be oblivious to the racism and white supremacy that we would deal with in society. Just because you got a particular female or a guy doesn't mean you're removed from it. You haven't made it. Not at all. Now, when the system fall, the white supremacy fall, hey, we may have a different conversation to have at that point. But until then, don't think you made it because of the female that you're laying down with or the guy you're laying down with. You're still black. Your children's still black at the end of the day. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular story. This guy, I think he needs to really step up as a parent and protect his daughters. He really do.